We're live.
All right. Good morning. Big welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you happen to be hearing this. We're coming with our third episode of the H.I.T DXB. And we're absolutely loving it, both Rich and myself. We're basically talking all things mindset, fitness, sports, lifestyle, entertainment, but all revolving around the human being, basically our, dissecting our thought processes, our performance, our relationships with all these type of things that we do in life, really. And so today's topic, or at least headline, is self-confidence. How confident do you feel? Are you self-confident? And so we're just going to be kind of throwing it around here. And of course, if you have any questions or you'd like to participate, please drop it in the chat box or comment. If you wish to add something or share something, please feel free to do so. In which case, we'll just kick it off right now. We're talking about self-confidence. So what makes you self-confident? Rich, over to you.
All right, very good. I just want to say, as you did that intro, I'm very excited about our guest. We've got a special guest, and it's sort of like it was a last minute me speaking to Andrea. Andrea's from Australia. She currently resides on the Sunshine Coast in Queensland. Very, very interesting person. Look, I implore everyone to watch and what she says. This woman goes so deep, and she'll give you some really great tips. I'm super excited to get her on. In regards to confidence, I think I've got a philosophy on it, and what builds confidence and what can tear it down also. And I think if I want to break it down to one word, seriously, and I think Andrew will jump on it a little bit later, it's about love, loving yourself. So we should also make clear that there's a thin line difference between confidence and arrogance, okay? Because someone's map of the world, you might be confident. They go, oh, look, that person's arrogant. That's what they think. It's okay. As long as you're not being arrogant. So you can be confident and humble. And I think that's the importance of today and what I wanted to say. So over to you, my man. And we're getting some comments from Gina. Big welcome to Gina and Lana Owens. Some of my dear friends from the Carlton Blues show that we do. So go ahead, Sam.
Yeah, cool.
Your points and what you want to talk about in regards to confidence.
Well, I think you touched on something quite interesting. It didn't cross my mind actually until you said it, but when you said being confident can easily be mistaken for arrogance or being too cool, too cool for school, so to speak. And I think if you notice, I mean, there are people that are arrogant. Obviously, yeah, maybe they're putting on a little bit of a show or a mask. And then you do have the people that just know their stuff. And it comes across as extremely confident and probably borderline arrogance. And I think my view on that is when you really know your stuff and you're very comfortable in your own skin, I think you get away with that because that's who you become and who you are in that moment when you know what you know. So I'm all for it, to be honest with you. I think we aspire to be certain people. We look up to certain role models who have been doing what they're doing in any industry because they have a certain level of, let's call it out, a certain level of swag, a certain level of, polished type of behavior that makes them look almost godly to some degree. And we look up to them for a reason, because we aspire to be like them. And I think that's due to the fact because they know what they know and they're very comfortable in their own skin. Now, I wanted to cover a couple of points on confidence, or try to get the whole spectrum. And hey, Rocco, good morning. And
yeah,
so
Rocco's a legend. He's on. Yep.
If you look at why we don't feel confident at times, I'm just going to mention a few points. One is we love to compare ourselves with other people, okay? And of course, this is also instinctual, right? Like we want to see what other people are doing. And when we find that we don't fit to that standard, or they may be doing things better than us, or more than us, or quicker than us, then that will hit our self-confidence, especially when they know more information, so to speak. So that's definitely a confidence killer. But let's remember something. This all stems from comparison. And when you compare yourself, everyone's unique, and everyone has something to offer in their own way. We all have different, as they say, fingerprints. And that's just one key point I'm going to put out there before I jump on the other points. So what do you think of that, Rich, for now?
Totally agree, man. Look, I agree with that. And I think it's multifaceted. It's such a large topic that, we just can't look. You got to look at people's also background and the upbringing and the environment. I think that's super important. But again, like I was saying, and I'm sure probably Andrew will go in and talk about it, is that it's based on your conditioning, similar to what we spoke about last week, on that the basis of your conditioning and which creates the state, so you might be less confident in like your weight, for example, or am I good enough or whatever. But what's the solution for that? Really? When you think about that, what is it? And if you really, really have that love, and I know it's easy to say, and we just say, oh, just love yourself. But it's more than that. We have to remove, this is what, I'm going to plug it a little bit in what we do with NLP, is that, our job is in clearing people's baggage to take them back to the real them and bring back that love to make them, whole again. I think this is the key thing, because we all come from different backgrounds. We all have different experiences, and you might. And the other thing is, what I want to mention is, you might be feeling confident you got a brand new pair of jeans, or it's your birthday, or you got a haircut. I guess the distinction what I want to get to is that having long-term self-confidence, and this is why I'm interested to see what you say, and Andrea that will join us shortly.
No, for sure. I mean, the other point I wanted to touch on was, I believe we all have confidence. It's already sitting there. Everyone has confidence. It's already there. And how do we know that to be true? Listen, there must be something that you know more about than other people. Anything whatsoever. You're confident to take a certain action. Okay, you're very decisive. Whatever that could be. When was there a time you weren't confident in those little things that you do and took a decision on? So it's being able to have a clear and make a clear decision to make a move. So that's confidence. So as far as I'm concerned, it was always there to begin with. Okay, and I normally find that it's very closely linked to when you know more about something. You become more confident to speak about it. You become more confident to engage with people. Take, for example, public speaking or speaking to a big audience. There are people who are terrified speaking in front of a big audience, okay, for different reasons. But the more they do it, the better you become, the more natural it seems. And so confidence emerges in a very powerful way. And so that's one way of looking at it, not knowing enough about a subject, which makes you feel less confident. But confidence is already there, because I'm sure you've done things, bits and pieces throughout your life where you felt very confident. So it's just retapping into that and acknowledging it and understanding that it's always been there. But it could be maybe even too early in the process when you're doing something out in the world, whatever it is, you're learning at this point in time, or a new job, or even a relationship. You don't seem enough confidence because you don't know enough about the other person. You don't know enough about that job, that career, whatever it is. But confidence is already there. So what we say in coaching as well, and Rich, you know this, is sometimes you don't know what you don't know, and that's okay. But when you do, you could speak very confidently about it. There's a ton of things I cannot speak confidently about. Like, I know Rich loves to watch, the footy. I do not really understand that sport, to be honest, although I love sport, but not that particular sport. So therefore, I'm not very confident in talking about it.
Hey, listen, there's just a comment here from our good friend Maurice. I feel outside influences degrade a person's confidence. And a big hello to Maurice, and maybe we can answer that question. I just want to say and answer that question, but one quick thing, and I guess we're going to get Andrea on very shortly, is that you might even have that knowledge, but you can still lose your confidence. So I think that's an important distinction also. So what do you got to say about that question from Maurice? And I actually, guys out there that are watching, please like, share this on your Facebook page. The more people that we get involved to listen to our stuff, we might just be able to help people. So go ahead, Sam, and then give me the nice segue to Andrea.
Yeah, outside influence. I just want to kind of touch on Maurice's, and thank you for the question. On the, I feel the outside forces or influences degrade a person's confidence. It could definitely, and it could very, very quickly too. But this is my view of it. I think if that happens, then you're not stable, you're not grounded in what you're doing or what you know, which is fine. But I think we open ourselves up too much for external validation. Okay, and everyone's going through this journey, or rather, of seeking evolution, growth, mindset, and so if you feel that, and that definitely is a real thing, then look within yourself where something is unanswered, something you got to work on maybe. Now, it doesn't mean that you're any less more than anyone else. It's just a question of this is somewhat new to you. This feeling, this force, this idea that's coming from the outside in. It's just basically telling you, this is an interesting thing. It's new. Why do I feel this way? And then inquire. Do a self-inquiry of what I need to learn, what I need to do to get better at it, or to know more about it. And you'll find yourself being more and more grounded. And on that point, I want to also stress on the fact that you already have confidence. It's already there. It's not something that's added to you. Confidence is already there. If you ask a child right now, okay, to do some crazy things, you can't tell me they're not confident. Like, they just do it. Okay. The only problem is we get in our own way. Okay. We think about it way too much. What will people think? What if I get rejected? What if I fail? And that's really getting in your own way and affecting our confidence, i.e. external validation or external responses from your environment. But the core of it is you already have confidence. It's already there. Okay, it's just basically peeling off the stuff. And so that's basically how I'd like to hand it off to Andrea. I hope that answers your question, Moritz, to some degree. And
I just want to say, if I can, please, guys, put out the questions. If you don't want us to read it, that's totally okay also. If you put it in the comments and just say, don't put it out there, it's also okay. But any questions you have, please just put it out there. And a big hello to Mr. Chris Beach. All the Carlton guys are in. I'm just going to add Andrea into the group, and I reckon you guys are going to love this woman. She's got a great accent also. So she's from Oz. Andrea, welcome.
Yes, you're speaking it up. You're speaking it up. But yes, hello, welcome, afternoon, evening, morning to everybody that's tuning in. So great to be here with you guys.
G'day.
All right, it doesn't work. Your Aussie accent's not working, mate. But if anyone says, who do you barrack for? Who do you go for in the football? Who's your team, Sam?
Carlton, 100%.
Yes, Carlton. Love it.
Well trained, cool. Sam.
I say that confidently.
Hey, Andrew, you've been listening. Big hello and welcome. For those who don't know, you're from Sunshine Coast. You do some pretty interesting stuff. So if you want to talk about, I know you do some stuff with teenagers and a lot of people. So the floor is yours for our audiences that are watching. Again, guys, like, share, add any questions. While you've got Andrea here, I'm telling you, this is a special moment. So go out there and ask the questions. So Andrea, floor is yours.
Floor is mine. Well, hello to those people that said hello. Thank you. Yeah, so I loved the first thing that really struck me with what you said, Sam, and it was in one of the first lines was human beings. And this is a really massive differentiation that I make a lot in what I do and the message that I share, because we can get so busy doing. We're being humans doing these things, and what do we do to become more confident? And yet when we recognize that what it is to just be who we are, and to be okay with who we are. And that really does tie into the other things you were talking about in terms of external validation.
Yeah, there's a question there that says
external validation. Yeah. How do I get rid of this baggage? So for me, my fundamental belief is the more okay we are in our own skin, to just be who we are and to recognize that that is absolutely enough. I'm pretty big on enoughness, because a lot of the times what we're doing is, if I do this, will I be enough? If I do that, will I be enough? If I achieve this, will I be enough? Enough to be loved, enough to be accepted, enough to be promoted, to be in that relationship. Like, for me, it really is about recognizing the difference between what it is to be and what it is to do, and to have a very conscious connection to why we're doing what we're doing. So in terms of the confidence thing, and you mentioned arrogance as well, and I love that you brought that up, because I really feel like the fear of being seen as arrogant is one of the biggest things that impacts people's confidence, because somewhere along the line we've been taught to believe that to be confident is arrogant. Now, the way that I see the differences between those two things, confidence is just your ability to be okay with who you are. Arrogance, so you don't need anybody else to know. It literally does not matter. If they know, good and well, but you are not driven by the outside world knowing that you're good at this or you've achieved that or any of those things. The minute that steps into needing someone out there to validate that, and that be in kind of like a pushing way of you must know that I've done this, you must see that I'm good at this, then that can manifest into arrogance. The arrogance is from the external. Confidence is an internal thing. And that's just my belief. That's not the truth. That's just my truth. And I love, Sam, how you said that, we're born with that. It's like an innate thing. And I do think that we are born just with a natural okayness to be who we are. And that, that baggage that comes along is where did we learn that it's not okay to just be who we are? Where did we learn that it's not okay to be, like vivacious and loud and running around having fun, or to be shy and a little reserved, or to want this or to want that? Like, where did we learn all of these ways that weren't okay and gave us that message that as you are is not enough? And so we then sort of merge and contort and step up or step down so that we can get that acceptance that, yes, you are now enough. And I think that's what a lot of adults are out there, even teens, and this is why I guess the work with teenagers is such an important thing to me, in particular females. I'm not, discounting males at any stretch of the imagination, but I'm a female and I kind of feel like I know how they tick a little. But that it's such an integral part of getting there and supporting them to just be who they are and be okay with that, even if it doesn't necessarily match the world's narrative of what your life should look like, because that's how we minimize carrying some of that baggage. So that's my take on it, fellas. Sorry.
Okay, we've got a question here or a statement maybe from Maritz saying, "Believe for you are the life you dream." I love this quote. Beautiful. I just want to see if anyone else has got any questions, because I'm sure that there's questions out there about self-confidence and exactly what you've said, Andrea. I totally agree. I think we're all on the same sort of like wavelength. And
yeah,
what you said, which was key, and that what we do in NLP is that when people don't know, because what happens is we get some distorted views and we get all this baggage that we learned that, am I good enough? Or someone might have looked at it in a particular way, or you didn't do so well in your job, or whatever it is. Our guidance, I think, and even in your stuff that you do, Andrea, is to help people break through that and get back to what's real. You know what I mean? So that's what I want to put out there. So
I'm literally sorry, I just literally realized that quote is from my book just here.
Oh, is it?
That is a great quote. I really like that. And then,
Maritz is very receptive, and he loves the Sunshine Coast too, so he might even visit you.
And that's the thing, I think, Rich, is that really what we're all trying to get back to, whichever way it is, whether it's through the way that you guys hold space or I hold space, or how you are in your friendships or any of that. I think all we're trying to really do is get back to our truth. And somewhere along the line, I think there's this, like Sam said before, you know, like coming back and asking a few questions and inquiring deep within, you know, whatever those the mind is telling you, whatever voices you're hearing, you know, can you take a bit of a journey with that and take that inquiring journey of just being even just inquisitive, like, oh, that's interesting. That's an interesting thought or belief or feeling.
But Andrew, what about someone that's, and I'm sure there's people that are watching this that are actually really stuck, right? And they're going, friggin' hell, this hasn't worked. You know, and COVID, you know, compounds that a lot more, like, you know, with the current situation, lockdowns and a whole bunch of different things. And it really starts weighing on themselves of like, are they good enough? And it could be just a macro environmental thing that's happened within, not within their hands, and they've lost a job, or business is not as strong as what it was because of what's happening with the pandemic. What guidance could you give, or Sam, the question is for you too, both of you guys, that we can give our listeners at least to say how to build that up? Because it's not only about self-confidence. We all know that there's a bunch of different things. But I just wanted to put that, you know, out there. And I'm sure even yourself, Andrea, and those who don't know your story, if you want to tell a little bit of it, is that you would have lost a bit of self-confidence in that time where you were challenged, you know? So I'd love to hear what both of you guys say. And a big hello to Joseph from Bangkok. We've got listeners all around. Please like, share. Go ahead, guys. Hello, Joseph.
You wanna start?
No, you go, Sam. I've had the floor for quite a bit, so you go. I'm curious.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I mean, listen. I think everyone's on a unique journey. Like I said earlier, I'm gonna go back to that. I think Andrea actually nailed it as well by saying you are that. You're enough. You're starting from a place of being. Okay, and that's why Andrea is the real deal, because she always starts from a place of being. And so I think we need to inquire. I think we need to ask questions. The beauty of modalities like hypnosis, like NLP, it allows us to give some strategies to inquire. Okay, asking some very unique, good quality questions that will cause you to go within and really dig on how you feel in that certain point of time, what's bothering you right now, and really going to the core of it and picking out and stripping away all the layers to reach a truth that's your truth, really, on what resonates with you, what makes you feel like almost like a kid again, where it's nice, pure, innocent, and powerful, I might add, where you can take a position from there. So looping back, I think if there's something that's really standing in your way, it could be the quality of your thinking at that point in time in terms of creating obstacles that weren't there, like the validation externally, what a comparison, comparing yourself with other people. Those are all external stimuli, if you will, or external forces that are constantly, vying for your attention. And I think I can tell you really quickly that you may not find the answers outside there. It's mostly going to be from within on your relationship. And I focus on the word relationship with what's actually happening in your world in that context, whether it's your work, whether it's your family members, whether it's your career, a new business you want to start. What's your relationship with it? That's what I would actually say. And then ask yourselves those questions. Asking questions are like the doorway or the gateway to your subconscious mind. The moment you ask yourself a question, your subconscious mind will have to answer. That's just the way it's designed. So if I ask you a question right now, do you think the moon is made of green cheese? Now, that's a silly question, right? But I'm sure at some level, you got the picture, the image, or the feeling of it, and it's like, hold on. And you made what's called a derivative search. So if you ask yourself some real good quality questions, then I'm sure you'll reach to a point which will be a good starting point for you for that self-inquiry. Like I said, and I'm going to loop back over to it again, I think confidence is something that we already have, but we're standing in our own way. And so I just want to end it with that. Sorry about that. Go ahead,
okay,
Andrea.
let me get Andrea in. And Andrea, I don't know if you want to give the listeners, we've got a few listeners on, which is great. Just a little bit about your story, if you want. It's up to you. If you don't
Yeah,
want to.
well, I'd really like to touch base on what Sam was saying there in terms of the relationship, because I absolutely fundamentally agree that relationships and our relationship with things, but my starting point will always be the relationship we have with ourselves, because the relationship we have with ourselves will just naturally interacts with the relationship we have with anything out there. It will determine the relationship we have with co-workers, with our spouse, with our children, with our friends, with strangers. And that comes back to that, really confidence is based on the relationship that you have with yourself. And I guess that's where, in terms of what you're talking about, Rich, on my journey, the relationship that I have with myself, which you can, change to what is my identity? How well do we know who we are? What is our identity? And that is so important because it changes our relationship with who we are. Because anything outside of us can go like that. So if who we are is based on the relationships that we have out there, okay, so who I am is based on that I'm the CEO, or who I am is based on that I'm the wife, or who I am is based on that, any of those situations. So who are you if you're no longer the CEO? So we see this now. You talked about COVID, with what's happening in our world. Okay, who are all these people that now maybe don't have jobs, that literally their identity was in what they do for a living? I became widowed at 27. This is what you're alluding to in terms of my journey.
Yeah.
I was a wife one day and I was a widow the next. And I didn't know who Andrea was, though, because I had grown up basing my life on getting married and having children. And so this is why it's so fundamental for me that people recognize and can really tune in and know their identity, because outside worlds change, but we have full control over the inside world. That doesn't necessarily mean that that's easy. We, like over here in Australia, where, in different places in the world, there's some crazy shit going on. Oh, I hope we're allowed to actually drop
Yeah,
Sure.
no, it's okay. You dropped the S word, not the C word. It's all right.
I don't go there. I don't go near that one.
All right.
You know, so it's not always easy to. You can know this stuff intellectually. It's emotionally being able to, you know, channel that in and sit with that. But can we be okay even if we're not in a good place? Like, can we be accepting that that is a part of what it is to be us and to be human and to have that experience? But that doesn't change our identity, you know, and that in terms of being able to have that communication, like you were saying, Sam, with asking those questions, you know, a lot of it's tied into what am I making this mean? So you losing your job or something changing in your relationship, or what are we making that mean about who we are? And is it necessarily true? You know, after my husband passed away, I spent a long time feeling like I was too broken. My first baby was diagnosed with cancer at 2 days old as well. So within 3 years, I'd had pretty traumatic experiences. And so I felt pretty not very together, to be honest, mentally. You know, I was suffering depression and mental health issues myself. And I made it mean that I was too broken. I had too much baggage, way too much baggage for anybody to be able to come into my life and share it, even if I wanted that down the track. Now, reality is that true? Like, is it true that we are too broken, or we aren't smart enough, or we're too much of this and too little of that? Like, are these things actually true? And we can take time to ask ourselves that and have the subconscious, you know, the conversation with our subconscious, with that deeper part of ourselves, to really communicate and hear whether those things are true or whether they're the story we're using to protect ourselves. Because what we're really protecting ourselves against, I believe, for the most part, is not being enough to be loved. And love can seem like quite a floaty, airy, fairy thing, you know, like, oh, love, peace, and happiness. But that love that has us a part of our community or a part of our family or connected, like it's the connection. And we can see in our world what disconnection is doing. It impacts the way that we think. And so making sure that we know how to connect to ourselves so that we can come back to that regardless of what happens in our external environment.
That's amazing. Amazing. Thanks, Andrew, for that. Hey, listen, guys, we've got roughly around about 12 minutes. I want to put it to the floor. Someone wants to jump in. They've got a question or even want to come on the streamcast, more than welcomed. And put it out there. And this is the opportunity, and we're here to help you guys with guidance and talk about things like, which is an important thing, which is self-confidence. Not just about getting the haircut or buying the new clothes that make you feel good just for one day or whatever, or 2 days. It's more about long-lasting things and change. And, you know, I've got a little bit of experience in this with the sports field and always talk about consistency. When you're really working on the real change within, it's more consistent. So great stuff. Sam, you want to add something to that before we get? I'll put the Streamline link in here, and please, if you more than welcome to hop in. And we've got probably around it because our show goes for about 45 minutes. So we've just got over 10 minutes. So yeah, go ahead, Sam, while I put this link in. Anyone wants to jump in, please jump in, share, like. You might just be helping out someone else by your story also.
Yeah, no, I just want to quickly thank Andrea as well. I mean, solid points, amazing points. I always love to listen to Andrea. It makes me feel comfortable inside, to be honest.
Me too.
Life is worth living again.
You guys are too much, honestly. This will turn into arrogance if you don't stop.
Oh well, it's only arrogance.
Never.
Well, the reason we say that, you know how we feel, Andrea, about you. I think it's wonderful having you. You always come and take that chat from a deeper place which is the place, really, the best place to start from. And you touched on a point of identity. And, I'm sure everyone's heard, what happens if you die in 5 minutes? Like death is real. And the moment you ask yourself that type of question or ponder on death, you look at the world differently very, very quickly. And I think if people who are watching here, just think about that. Ask yourself that question. Like, we could die any moment now, okay? Like we could finish this chat here on this platform, and then after 3 minutes, I'm out. When I think of that, and I don't know if you agree, but all of a sudden I get this surge of energy, power, super confidence, because I want to live it. I want to live it. I want to milk it so much, just like a child would. They don't have any care in the world. They'll just act, behave, and really move from that position of power. And so when you mention identity, who are we clinging on to? Sorry, Rich, what did you want to say?
There's a question there from Lana, but I just want to say that's you, and I wanted to just make clear, and that's why I want Andrea and yourself to comment on, is that you think like that, but someone might be in a position where they're like, you know what, it's probably better if I go. So I think we need to address that, because that's an important thing. But Lana here's saying you can't really lie to yourself, can you? Because the subconscious knows. Any answers there, guys?
Well, she's right. She's right. There's that icky feeling when you think you're something and you haven't changed on a subconscious level, and it's an icky feeling. It's like someone telling you, you're gonna be a millionaire, you're a superstar. Let's face it. A lot of us actually, feel like, no, I'm not. No, I don't feel good. But going back to what Andrea's point is, when you have that relationship, that honest relationship with yourself, I think it's okay to feel what you're feeling. So if you feel betrayed, if you feel less than you are, then internalize it. Because that thought came from somewhere, and you're feeling this right now. So internalize that too. Take it all in. Take it all in. Sit with yourself and be with yourself. Because we're human beings. We get so much stimulus from the outside: good, bad, ugly, horrible, horrific, terrifying. Yeah, because it's new. It's new. Internalize it. Bring it in and sit with it. And I love when Andrea touched on that point. It's almost like having this relationship with yourself is probably the most important relationship to start having, is with yourself. And let's not fool each other. So back to Lana's point, if you feel shitty, you feel shitty. Who am I to tell you, no, you must feel positive? The reason we created this channel, Rich and myself, is because we wanted to be super real. And by saying that, I mean, if you feel that, then that's what you feel. But we're here to tell you that can also shift. We're human beings, and we have that power, and that can shift. Confidence is already there. We can shift. We can move. So if you're starting off from feeling shitty, just sit with it. And I promise you, if you sit with it long enough, sincerely, you will begin to have that power to shift from within yourself. Like Andrea pointed out, having the relationship with yourself is the best. Like I said, every time I listen to Andrea, I swear, I feel like I came home.
That's so funny, because I was due to go back to Victoria, where I'm actually from, but obviously lockdown's got in the way.
She's a Vic.
I'm a Vic girl, but to do my first personal speaking event, like I've spoken at other people's events, and it was actually called Coming Home, Owning Your Magnificence. And it was a process of really guiding people on what it means to come home into their heart, because that's what I believe. I believe that our heart comes first and then our mind. And how do we do that? Because it's all good and well to say these things, but there are processes to help us be able to do that and to be able to hear it. Our heart, the truth, the very essence of our identity We can hear what that's got to say if we know how to be guided into that. And we can lie to ourselves. Like for me, my truth is we can lie to ourselves, absolutely. But if we choose to get honest, really honest, and I love that you said that, Sam, like that is where the magic is. That is where the confidence is. That is where we step to the edge and keep stepping, because you know what? Even if we fall down, even if it turns to shit, even if it does not work out, when you know that you're going to be okay anyway, you'll go. It's where we fear that we're not going to be okay that holds us back, that gets in the way of that. Like really, to me, confidence is however this plays out, I'm okay with who I am.
Can I say, Andrea, and there's a comment here from Gina, if you can have a look at that.
Yeah.
And I know it's not cut and dry like that, but just from your experience, I'm sure that when you were widowed at 27 and you had a son that had cancer, I can't imagine, you could be in any worse place. I mean, mentally, that it would really, really challenge anyone. So maybe you can just answer this, what Gina's saying, and then I think we might have a guest coming on. I think we're going to get Rocco on very shortly also. So go ahead.
So for me, there's not really anything to answer there for that. Depends what you're actually going through in your life. It's not that cut and dry, because that's her truth. That's her truth. It's not that cut and dry, and I'm totally okay with that. Okay. For some people, it's not that cut and dry. Absolutely. And in some ways, it's not that cut and dry for me either. But I do know that my happiness is my responsibility. And I heard those things when I was widowed, like not straight away, but in further down my journey, that, that I'm not here to tell anyone how their journey needs to be or how it can be or anything. That's the whole premises of what I do, is that, we are the guardian of our journey in life, and we get to determine whether it is that cut and dry, or it's not that easy, or it's not that hard. That's a personal thing, totally.
Interesting. Sam, you got any points to say? I'm trying to get Rocco on. For some reason, it won't work. So let me just put that link into the group again, into the page. Yeah, and see if we can get Rocco in. I think Rocco's got some good value to add. Anyone else want to put their hand up to come on? Don't be shy. Go ahead, Sam.
Yeah, cool. No, I agree with Andrea, of course, and Gina too. You're absolutely right. It does depend. It does depend. I agree with you wholeheartedly.
She's got a comment here. Yeah, she's put a comment here for you guys. Just have a look.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a really, really important point that Gina is making here, that there is a timeline for this stuff, and that is my absolute truth. No one will convince me of anything else. There is a timeline to be able to when each individual person feels ready or is ever ready. Okay, so, for some people going through grief, it looks completely different. It's such an individual thing, and there's no way known 2 weeks, 2 months, 18 months. I don't even know when I made the conscious decision that I didn't want to feel the way that I felt in my grief journey. I can't even remember when that was, but we know, and it's okay if we never know. It's okay. This is my opinion. It's okay if someone that impacts the rest of their life forever. That's okay by me. All I know is for me. So.
Hey guys, I've got Rocco. Now, Rocco's a very interesting fellow. He's a good friend of mine. I'm going to add him to the stream. So big hello to you, Rocco.
How are you guys? Can you hear me all good? Technology isn't my thing around here, man. So, but I got my son.
Welcome.
Loud Loud and clear. Welcome to the show. Finally getting you on.
Yeah, that's it. We're finally on the big show, man. I love this. I love this. And you're doing a great job getting people thinking about, more about the mind and the body. I think it's really important. We've got big issues in society these days. I just think we live in a society now that it's all about acceptance, likes. I want likes. I want people to accept what I am. Facebook is a big lie. Everyone puts on the photos they want people to see, and then it's just a different life they lead. Yeah. So I think until we can get over that, we're going to have major issues in society for a real long time.
Good point. It says here, I feel many of us have losses and we all deal with it in different, diverse ways. What do you guys got to say of what Rocco said? I totally agree. What you're saying, Rocco, is we're in that society of it's all about the likes and the fakeness.
Everyone's so worried about what everyone else thinks about them, and to get to a point where you don't care anymore. When I say you don't care about people, of course you're going to care about the people that are important to you and your close friends, but it's about not caring about that external noise you're hearing, that external noise that keeps like, and most people, I believe, put you down so they can elevate themselves, and that absolutely like hurts people because they can't like deal with it. You know what I mean? So, people don't get enough likes, their whole night's ruined. Like, why didn't they like my comment? And I see, I've got young kids, I see it as a major issue anyway.
Andrea, maybe you can answer that, because there is a solution to that, I'm sure, with all that stuff. Because if it gets down to the real you, or what you type of preach out there, maybe you can just answer that for Rocco.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Again, I'm going to say it like there's nothing to answer. Like what Rocco has said is 100% what he believes to be true, and so do I. So I don't disagree with any of it. I guess for me, what I see is that, again, it comes back to there is such a disconnection within ourselves. To be honest, we are not taught to listen to ourselves from the minute we're born. We're just not.
That's true.
We are taught to go externally. Now, I'm a school teacher as well, okay? So, and I'm going to put it out there. School is one of the biggest places that teaches you how to listen to somebody else and to follow the rules. And, look, don't get me wrong, society needs some boundaries, we can't all be out there just robbing banks or whatever, but for the most part, I have so much faith. I have so much faith. I do, even in this day and age. I have so much faith in the human race, in humans, happy, connected humans, that most people just know naturally how to do the right thing. They know how to do the right thing by other people. When we are happy, when we are connected. So for me, it's about this. We have just been guided on this path to listen out there, to listen out there, to listen out there. And if we can be guided back in to listen in here and be okay, have the confidence to be okay with who we are innately, because we're just good people, then we're not gonna be, where's the like, where's this, where's that, and it becomes that addiction. It's that dopamine. It goes deeper than that, doesn't it? But yeah, Rocco, 100%. I think it's just.
Do you think the other problem is too, society is so disconnected now because of the media and social media? It's so disconnected. I see young people now, they on the computer, man, they're like guns, mate. They can speak such a language, they talk, they type away, and then they get face to face and they're morons. And well,
not all,
I love it.
My kids and that, like, they get in there, like, and they just can't do that interaction anymore. It's kind of lost. And I think that's where we used to get our confidence from other people, being in those group environments, talking to other people face to face. Do we get to see them? Like, what are their eyes doing? What are their reactions? It seems we've lost that, and it's a worrying that it might even just get worse and worse and worse.
When I went to uni, I went as a mature age student after my husband passed away, and one of the uni lecturers said, for every advance that we've made, we've lost something. So you move on to calculators or onto computers, people can't spell, they can't add up. You move into social media, and now we don't know how to socialize, kind of thing.
Is that ironic?
Everything that we have gained, there's also been something that we're losing as well. And so, yeah.
That's interesting. But Rocco, you're pretty. I mean, you're a confident guy. What do you do yourself to stay confident? I'm not saying you wouldn't lose confidence, because we all do, right? But
it took me 45 years.
Really?
45 years of experience, and I got to a stage where I just don't care anymore what that external noise is anymore. You know what I mean? I'm still from old school, so I still like to connect. Naturally, I've had to learn how to do all this, because it's just the way of the world now. You've got no choice, But to me, it was just time and just experience. You know what I mean? These days, everybody wants to do everything so quickly too. It's amazing. Like, even me now, I get annoyed. Like, I don't get an internet connection, and I sit there and I go, what's going on? We can put a man on the moon and I can't get internet. I'm falling into that trap also. So there's so much, everyone's in a hurry to do something. Everyone's in a hurry to become rich or be popular or do this, I think time is a big thing, You need time. I think as young people, we kind of knew that. We had that time, you know what I mean? Like at 18, we were waiting to get to 18, we're waiting to get to 16, and we're waiting to get to 18. But we had time to learn to grow and learn about these things. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
You can't be wrong, because it's your truth.
Yeah, well, I suppose, but yeah, that's true. That's true.
I don't believe in mistakes, and I know that can be hard.
Only learning from them. That's fair enough.
Yeah. Well, and just what happens if everything is just meant to be the way that it is, and that can be a really hard thing to sit with when things are going really not great. But what happens if it just is?
Yeah.
Hey, I wanted to also mention, just before we wrap up, because Rocco and I, we're mad Carlton supporters, and we're into the AFL, and I know Andrea sort of going to make you into a Carlton supporter too, and Sam's already.
Don't do it, Rash. Don't do it.
I can. Because already made the Canadian in the bottom there, in the bottom corner. He's now a Carlton supporter too. So go the Blue Baggers. But I wanted to say something, and just relating this to football, and then we'll wrap up, is that it's the same sort of thing that happens in the football world, and self-confidence. I mean, someone like, and Sam, you don't know this guy, but someone like there's a player that we have, his name's Sam Walsh. This guy is so driven within to constantly get better, and not everyone is like that. So, or you might have someone that's very, very confidence-based. And it's the same sort of thing that what we're saying is, and I guess what Andrew has articulated really well, same as you, Sam, is about the belief within, right? So when you can go out there and teach that, and just getting them to back to the real you, I think that's what you're saying, Andrea and Sam. I think by us sharing these types of ideas, and we've seen that from people that we've coached personally, one-on-one or teams or whatever, that when you just it is very, very simple what can happen, and the transformation is seriously a decision away. Just listen, get the guidance. So interested in what you want to say. Thanks, Rocco. That's been awesome. Love having you on, man. Please, anytime.
And I love the show. Trust me, I love the show, man.
Sam, you want to mention anything? Oh, well, you got a question there, Andrea.
I can't answer because Rash will never speak to me again. But I don't actually have a team personally myself, but I may have married the most amazing guy who unfortunately goes for Collingwood. Or fortunately.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
I know, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Well, I tell you, it's his only downfall if you look at Collingwood being a downfall. He's brilliant. He's brilliant in every other way, I promise.
All right. So
Thanks
we'll take
for
you as
me there, Lana.
Well, we'll take you as a Blues supporter anyway, because actually, and you've got a connection to the Teagues, of course.
Well, yeah, I know who they are. Yeah, we're from the same area. So my parents are friends with his aunt and uncle for sure. So yeah.
Very good. I'm just seeing here.
Woo, there we go.
Very good. There's a few comments going through. Sam, I know you're not really understanding all this sort of stuff, but we'll get you to sort of like wrap up for us. And there's plenty of love out there for Rocco. We all love Rocco.
Yeah, thanks, Rocco. Rocco!
Go, Rocco!
Go. Twice.
Yeah, Rocco, you got a beefy name. You know, like you're a tough guy.
That's it. It's just all show. Trust me, it's all show. I cry.
What is it? What is that name in Italian? It's Italian, correct? So what's the actual name in Italian? Is it the same thing, Rocco?
It's Rocco.
Rocco. Okay.
Rocco, but everyone Australianizes it. Rocky. Rocky.
Hey, Rocco.
And you got to roll the R. Rocco.
Cookies can roll our R's.
Yeah, no, you can't. You can't roll the R. You can't
Rocco.
That's it.
Hey, Sam, there's a comment there from Lana for you, which you've met Lana also. She's saying, let's sign up Sam. So we're going to sign you up. We're going to get you a membership. We'll organize that once we all go into Carlton and make the changes, hopefully, including Andrea, which I've been talking to a lot about the changes that are needed there. But that's for another show. But let's wrap up.
Yeah.
So
we're going to do a quick wrap up. We want to thanks Rocco for coming on and for meeting you as well to ask your question. It was great. I actually, and this could be a cliffhanger, but I do have an answer for you that I was percolating that I will talk about. I hope to talk about next week. I share a polar opposite response than Andrea's, but tune in next week because it's friggin' loaded. So get ready for it.
I love how you're going to keep us ready for next week. That's perfect, man. I've got to tune in there.
Right.
No, you know what it's like? It's like the prisoner episodes. You remember we were talking about the free, waiting for next week.
That's it.
Yeah. So,
Sam, you got to give us more than that. You got to give us more than that. You can't just give us a cliffhanger like that.
I will. Listen. I'll tell you this much. I totally agree with what Andrea's premise is. Totally, but I have a different from the polar opposite. I have a response for you. Okay. And I think
forgotten what I said, so now you really got me confused.
What's that, sorry?
I've totally forgot what I said, so now I'm really confused. Which page do I
You came from a great place, and it's perfect and true. I have no doubt about that. But while Rocco was asking that question, I really percolated, and the fiery side of me was really like waiting to pounce. So I will keep that for next week because we don't have much time, to be honest, and I value people's time and for taking the time for watching this. So for this episode was self-confidence. We hope we shared some value to you, getting you to think, probably ponder on some new ideas, new ways. Of course, thanks to Rocco and of course Andrea so much for joining us, and Rich, of course, as usual. We're going to be talking about something different next week. We enjoyed having you on the show and listening in. And there's always an answer. There's always an answer. You will find it. If you're committed, if you're willing, just takes a decision. So I'd like to end with that. Rich, any final words?
Yes, I want to know what question that Rocco asked. So tell me, because I'm thinking, what the hell? Because he fired up a couple of things. So just tell us that, so then we can be aware of what you're talking about for next week, and then we'll end the broadcast. Maybe the four of us can keep talking for about 5 minutes after. So go ahead.
Yeah. So correct me if I'm wrong, Rocco, but you were talking about why we're taken away from the likes, the followers, why we watch these views and stuff like that, right? Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's the setup.
What we focus on. Like a lot of people are focusing on that now, that's what's so important to them now,
Exactly. And I think, Rocco, that's going to be the name of our show next week. Where do you put your focus?
Yes.
Okay. Where are you currently putting your focus? What do you think, Rich?
Well, that's it. We're going to sign off, but I just want for Rocco to plug his show. He's got a fantastic show. Lana's put a comment there. Plug your show, Rocco. What your show is for tonight, if you may.
Just quickly, it's called the Jumper Punch. It's on tonight. It's just a footy Carlton variety show. So we have a bit of fun. We show a few old commercials, a few old clips. We do a bit of banter. We have a quiz, and that's it. So it's one of your old time Graham Kennedy comedy shows. I'm going to say, if you know who Graham Kennedy is, yeah.
Best show on the net, and I keep on saying that.
Thanks
mate. For that, Rocco. Sam, absolute pleasure having you on. We'll be on next week. We'll set it up. Andrea, mate, please jump on anytime. Seriously, you've been amazing. Some of the comments. I don't know if you've seen the comment from Rayanne earlier. She got a lot of value out of this. And I'm sure a lot of people have got a lot of value out of it. I've just seen the comment here, blankety blanks. That's the Graham. So yeah, thanks all. We'll sign off from here, I think. And do look out, like, share, the whole lot, guys. Believe me, it just by you sharing and allowing people. It's not even about us here. It's us about getting the word out to people. This is it. So please like and share the Lionheart Facebook, and Andrew, I hope you can jump on with us anytime that you're free. I know you're pretty busy.
School holidays coming up, mate, and yeah, but definitely. Look at that, Blue Bagger membership coming away. No worries. If we could just keep that on the download from my husband, I'd like to keep him as well. So we just can be just a little group here that knows that
that's
I'm
it.
Blue Bagger.
It's between us. Well, 2 memberships we've got to sort out now. One for you. And one for the Canadian in the bottom corner.
Yeah, there we go.
Canadian. Hey.
Go Carlton, huh? He says go Carlton. We've got to tell him it's go Blues. Anyway, we out of here. Thanks, guys.
Thanks
very
for having
much
me, guys.
Appreciate it. No worries. We're going to end the broadcast. Thank you. Bye all.